Welcome to Millennium Counseling Center's podcast, where each week we go in depth into all things mental health, addiction recovery, and being our healthiest and happiest self. Enjoy. This week's episode will be hosted by one of the many incredible therapists here at the Millennium Counseling Center. Please enjoy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Dating in Your 20s. Lilly and I are here today in our new office. Our practice has actually moved locations. We are like 2 blocks over from where we were in downtown Chicago, but we share an office now, which just feels really cute. And we're going to get it more decorated. But now we can kind of have the ability to upload our full video on YouTube. So you can watch our podcast now, which is really exciting.
We're super happy to be here and super happy to have you guys.
Yeah, welcome back. Wait, Lil, how's your week been? I feel like I haven't seen you.
I know. My week has been pretty good.
Okay.
With obviously the office is moving, and then I'm also in the midst of my own move as well. Springtime, change, renewal,
rebirth.
It's all happening. But it's sun. The sun is shining today, and I'm vibing. How about you?
I'm good. I'm so glad it's finally April. I feel like March was just rough. I forgot that like growing up in the South, like spring starts in February. And I typically am better about being out of Chicago in the months of like December and January. And this year I did not do that. So I got back and I was like, wait a second. I need warmth. I need sun. I need summer. And we're starting to see a little bit of that. So my mood is definitely elevated. I'm excited to get like our office like all decorated and cute. That's really giving me some energy.
Each week, hopefully there's something
that we can add to it.
But it's a process.
Yeah, it's a process. It's like dating. Yeah. You know, nice pivot, actually, if you think about it.
Speaking of dating, what are we chatting about today?
Speaking of dating, so we wanted to chat about that initial honeymoon phase when you start seeing someone, what we are calling like exclusively.
Okay.
And kind of the ways that takes over for a lot of people, a lot of women in particular, their life. And it kind of becomes the topic of conversation when they're talking to their friends. It feels like they're not seeing their friend group as much. They're kind of, I hate the word obsessed, but like obsessed with their significant other.
I think Tinks uses the term boyfriend sickness.
Ooh, I like that.
They are like super infatuated.
Yeah.
Which on one hand, I think is a sign that you're in a relationship that you want to be in. You're excited about it. You want to spend time with that person. But I do think it's also can propose or kind of like, I don't know, there's a lot then to be like, okay, how do I manage my time? And how do I maintain all of my relationships with coworkers, friends, family? Also, like when is the right time to intertwine those versus when should it like just be me and my partner? When should it just be me and my friends? Like sometimes I feel like I have a difficult time because I just like love everyone and I want everyone to always be in the same place. And I'm like, that maybe wasn't the place or the setting for that to happen.
Yeah.
But do you like the term honeymoon phase?
I don't hate it. I think it's pretty accurate. I think that like when people go on a honeymoon, there's like this revitalization. You just planned a wedding. There's like the significance of feeling like it's just you two. You typically get away. And so I think the honeymoon phase encapsulates that mentality, but you're not necessarily separated from work life, family life, friend life. So it kind of brings in the essence of what I think a lot of people experience on their honeymoon, but brings in more the way that you're acting. I also think it's so funny when I was chatting with my mom this week, as per usual. I call my mom like every day, but I was telling her we were doing our podcast on this, and I was like, it immediately made me think of my granny. My granny's almost 80, but when she first started dating after my step grandfather passed away, she's doing great. She actually has had more boyfriends than I have, but she loves this phase, and she will talk about her significant other nonstop. Like it's the whole topic of conversation. And I love her for it.
She's got boyfriend sickness.
She's got boyfriend sickness, but like she handles it very well. And I'm like, it's good. There's a beauty of seeing how happy she is. But then like in comparison, when my friends have boyfriend sickness.
I was just about to say, I'm
jealous.
Probably not going to be like, oh, that's so cute. Like
I know
I
it's
would
not
to my
the
grandmother.
No, it's not the same. But I was like, wait, that's such a stark reminder that a lot of times it's, again, that comparison culture that's infatuating. That makes you kind of feel like, okay, wait, I'm not as happy. But when you're seeing it in someone who's not in the same stage of life that you're in, it's like, oh, like I'm so happy
like,
for
bless
you.
their heart.
Yeah,
This
like
is
it's
great.
so exciting.
Mhm.
So that was a funny reminder that like everyone experiences this. It's not necessarily just people in their 20s,
Mhm.
but I think when you're experiencing it alongside people who are in their 20s, it's like, damn, I'm kind of mad about this.
Mhm. No. And I feel like there's this idea or this framework or mindset of like, you kind of have to be self-aware.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get so like, I'm trying not to be so like black and white with this kind of stuff,
Yeah,
but I do
same.
think it's like, it's hard to operate in that middle
Yeah.
when you are so excited about something
Yeah.
or really interested in this person or
Yeah.
want to spend a lot of time with them, or maybe you've like just decided that you want to like start building a life together. Like that's really
Yeah.
exciting. And for
Yeah.
so long, I think oftentimes like for a lot of people, and like that's like something that I really look forward to.
Yeah.
So when you're able to experience that, you also don't want to sell yourself short
No, yeah.
or cut it short. And the other thing, like maybe jeopardize the relationship.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, you care a lot about like managing your other things, but like you got really wrapped up in that
Yeah.
now you didn't nourish and feed and allow this relationship to grow the way that you could have.
Mm.
And then alternatively, I also think something that's been hard for me when navigating this is I've also been in that little powwow with my girlfriends
Yeah.
when there's someone in our group who got a relationship and we're like, she's doing it.
Okay. So you kind of have the mentality of like, do you call them out?
Oh man, I think it depends.
Okay.
I think it depends. I personally am the type of person in a relationship, I want my significant other to be around the people that I also like to be around.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
Something that I look for is my partner being able to like come and gab with the girls or go to a game of pickleball with my dad and my mom and like not sweat it and like kind of just like take everything on headstrong and just be there and be present. But other people have other ways of looking at it. Like I have a friend that's very much like me and my boyfriend's time is our time. And
Yeah, like she separates it.
she kind of separates it.
Yeah.
I have judgments about that 100%.
Okay.
Because that's not what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just like, wait, what? Like, oh, I haven't seen you in 3 weeks because you've been doing that. Like, then I'm kind of like, oh, but like that maybe would have been a good time to like intertwine or whatever. I'm just like, interesting. But then I have to recognize you don't really care as much about that intersection as I do.
Yeah. Something that's interesting, I'm thinking about this from like a clinical sense too, because of like the age bracket for a lot of my clients. I can typically tell, like people will introduce in therapy. I hate when everyone's like, oh, you don't talk about your relationships in therapy. Yes, everyone does. I do. But I can always tell when it's like no longer just like that talking stage and it's like more exclusive because instead of just like a tidbit of our session, it becomes our whole session.
Or instead of like it's like we.
Yes. We language comes very headstrong into the space. And
that's a turning point in a relationship for sure.
It really is. And I feel more comfortable in that setting, acting as a therapist, to kind of ask, like, are you recognizing the way that you've kind of allowed this mentality to infiltrate your way of going about your day? And it almost feels kinder and like softer to do it from a therapeutic space.
100%.
Than with a friend.
Totally.
But you would think because I'm like close with my friends and we have that relationship, I could be like, hey girl, you're spending so much time with him. Like you're not, he doesn't even come over to our apartment. He doesn't hang out with us. Like you don't ever want him to be at the same functions that we're at. Like you are 24/7 always with him. All you talk about with us is him. What's going on? I would never do that. I've never had a conversation like that with a friend.
I think for me, I have a lot of opinions about it because I have a way of how I like to do things.
Yeah.
So I think it's very easy to then become opinionated if someone's doing something differently. And not like, oh my gosh, why are they doing that? But it just kind of becomes a little bit more like obvious to me and what's going on. But I am in a stage right now where I'm trying to like remember that like if it works for someone to keep things a little bit more separate, it works. But then is that maybe hard to navigate? Like you can't cut yourself up in a million pieces and be in so many different places. So I do think, I don't know if I want to say this like very firm statement, but like I do think on baseline, you maybe spend less time with your friends when you get into a relationship. just think about the
Just
math, like the
period.
optics of it.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make, like,
Something that's interesting, I was in a long distance relationship in college. So like we went to 2 different schools. And at the beginning, when like he would come visit or I would go visit, it was kind of like show and tell. Like there was something so sweet and tender about being
college
like,
too, I
I
feel
know, like so college, to be like, oh my goodness, like she's visiting or he's visiting. I want you to meet him. I want you to meet him. I want everyone to hang out with him. And then the further we got into a relationship, it was like, oh my God, are we really spending time with your fraternity brothers? Like, I want to hang out with you. Like, I just drove 4.5 hours.
So stage of relationship matters.
It matters 100%. So I think also like how you interpret the stage that you're in. And so I would almost say like our honeymoon mentality of just wanting to be us hit later because we were long distance. And there's like a newness of like, my friends didn't know him. So I wanted them to, but they didn't have like the everyday, like, oh yeah, he's in my econ class. Like they didn't know him at all. And
No,
so
that's a whole different dynamic.
exactly. I think there's so many things to think about when having this conversation. Even just like being in your 20s, there's so many different ways relationships look like at this stage that there is no one rule for this. It's very different for each person. And so we always emphasize like take what you need from this podcast and feel it out. And if nothing sounds good and you don't want to take anything, that's totally fine too. It's more so what feels applicable for the kind of relationship you're in and what feels applicable for what you might need to learn or how to grow from the stage that you might be navigating right now.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Hypothetically.
Okay.
Clearly not hypothetically. But, well, I think I'm leaning away from the term honeymoon phase. I think it's just like,
you don't like it.
well, no, I just think for like what I'm actually what I think we're actually talking about this in this podcast is like early stage relationship.
Yeah.
Like you just started dating.
Yeah.
You're invested. You really like this person.
Commitment is there.
Like you're in it. You're like choosing to be in it and you want to like dive in head first.
Okay.
Which I don't think is honeymoon phase. Like I feel like it sort of feels like a honeymoon. And like you hope to maybe feel this way again when you are on your honeymoon.
Yeah. Like you're trying to emulate what that would be.
Yes. But it's not, I don't know.
Okay.
That's coming up for me. But this is tough. This is a tough question.
I'm scared.
How do you navigate if you can pick up on some things in close relationships, friendships that you've had for a while, and you can kind of recognize maybe they're making little comments or they're making little digs and they're like, oh yeah, would love to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Or is it just going to be you or are you bringing your plus one too?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, that's a little catty, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to like, what, and you're self-aware. You want to acknowledge that you care about the friendship. You care about that bond that you've had with that person for so long and you care about that person, but you also maybe want that person to like allow you to be happy. And you want that person to like celebrate the fact that you're like really enjoying this stage of life in this relationship, but you also care a lot about that friendship. Any suggestions on how to navigate that?
So me personally, I think just being emotionally aware and attuned, I would really struggle with that because I'm such a people pleaser. And so I'd automatically take that as, oh my goodness, I'm not giving you enough time. I'm so sorry. Like, what can we do? Want to go get our nails? Like, I would probably try to overcompensate, especially if it's a really close friend who, like, I would feel hurt that they potentially were feeling hurt.
Oh, totally.
If it's like
our compassion and like empathy is just like,
it's like it's too much. I think if I was able to take a step back and see the hidden meaning behind what they were saying, I would have a different approach in being like, hey, like just between me and you, like we're friends, we can have this conversation. Do you feel like I've been spending too much time with them? And I would try to maybe not fix it by doing something or like showing an action. I would try to fix it by having a conversation. Which again, isn't my knee-jerk reaction to immediately do that. I would immediately want to make that person feel seen and heard and like they're my best friend.
But then you also are potentially putting the new relationship that you care about at risk.
And my own feelings about that new relationship at risk.
And it's also maybe not asking that question like, hey, do you think I'm spending like, because there's an answer to that where it's like, yeah, like you are. You're moving really quickly. Yeah. Or there's an answer to that that's maybe fueled by like, yes, all of those things are maybe true, but like it makes me feel a type of way because that means I don't get to spend that time with you.
Yeah. I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to have check-ins with your friends. I think when you have close relationships, especially in a vulnerable time like your 20s, and you have people you can rely on, you want their opinion. It's how they're communicating their opinion that matters and how I would act about it. So like the cattiness, I would probably immediately feel in the wrong. And then I would probably take about 24 hours and be like, that did not make me feel good. Like, why did she say that like that? But yeah, I think if it's a conversation where a friend comes to me and says like, I am so glad that you were so happy with so-and-so. I love seeing you happy. But I just want you to know like there's more to your life than this. And like there's going to be more to your life than this. So like maybe if you're the friend who is seeing like one of your besties be in a relationship and really cling to that, maybe that's a piece of advice that you could use or a way to kind of engage that conversation without it being that comes off as jealous.
Yeah. Because also though, to like put myself, I feel like I've been on a lot of sides of this like kind of conversation that we're talking about. When you're that friend, like it's hard to navigate. You want to like show your support and be really happy, but you're also like, wait, so you can't just like go last minute, go get a martini at 6 p.m. on a Friday?
Yeah.
Because you're like going to dinner with your boyfriend. Like, yay, I'm so happy for you. But also like
hang out with me.
What am I supposed to do? You know, like that is totally a feeling that I've had. And I think that's why this situation and this circumstance is hard because oftentimes you have been on both sides.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not you need to put yourself in the other person's shoes. You've been there. So you know what it feels like. So I think that's why navigating this, at least for me, is hard because I understand all sides. I think having a hard conversation when you can really understand where every single person is coming from.
Yeah, it's important.
It's really hard to have, like, it's not like a agree to disagree, but it like kind of is. You're like, okay, you're heard, but I still feel this way. And I'm like, I hear you,
but I still feel this way.
You know?
One thing we talked about too when we were like figuring out our notes for this week's episode is I was like, it's so different. Again, context is everything. How you grew up, how you've seen relationships be formed is one thing, because I grew up in the community where like it is the Lord's plan for you to get married. So like if you have a man who is showing you intentionality, then you cling to that and you support your friends because the Lord has chosen them. And
wild.
I was really
no hate, but like this is just all new for me to hear.
It's a very different mentality. And I was that girl. I lived with 3 other roommates. They're my very best friends. We were texting this morning and they were all dating and about to get engaged our senior year of college. And so like I inserted myself. Like if they were going to have movie nights, I'd be like, all right, I'm coming too. Like
move over.
Like you're in my home.
Yeah.
What are you guys watching?
But I look for that in a relationship too.
Yeah.
Though. Like, yes. My +1 needs to also, like, I will be, like, you also are taking on my 3 besties.
Yes, no, exactly. And I will say all of their fiancés and husbands handled me so well to the point where, like, if one of, at the time, boyfriends were, like, going to get them dinner, they'd be like, does Amelia want anything? Or, like,
I've gotten flowers on Valentine's Day.
I was going to say, on Valentine's Day, they got me chocolate. And they're like, they wanted to make sure you had something, too.
Oh, no,
so,
that's
like,
sweet.
They're sweet. But I also, in those moments, have to recognize, I'm the clingy friend. And like in times where they might want their relationship to flourish or they want one-on-one time, I have to recognize there were times I wanted that when I was in a relationship.
Totally.
So I think kind of what you were saying, that ability to see where you're falling short and make up for the places where your friends might be falling short is an illustration of really beautiful friendship. Like being able to pick each other up and meet each other where you are and have these really honest conversations and then just grow in your own ways. And it might feel like you're growing in opposite directions, but I'm picturing a tree where like there's still the root, like there's still something that like brings you together and it's your friendship. You're just going on different paths. And that's something I really had to recognize as all of them started getting engaged and planning their weddings. And I was like, oh wait, like this isn't just like a cutie little relationship where you guys are sitting on the couch in our living room and I can come join. Like you're starting a family.
Yeah.
And so I also think that helped me recognize when it's my time to have those moments to step back. And because I feel like sometimes I took that step, I know they would do the same for me.
Totally. What's coming up for me, and I think this is also me like giving myself this advice as well.
Yeah.
Friendships are going to change.
Mm.
You can feel some type of way about when those friendships change, because those change. Sometimes you may be more open to it because it's changing in a way that like is sort of like supporting you or lifting you.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes a relationship changed and you kind of feel like you're the friend that's like hunkering down and like feeling stagnant.
Yeah.
But they ebb and flow, right? You were just saying, I think you were just talking about this maybe with a client, but if someone's like living really like they're succeeding, they're feeling good, they're on this like, they're like, yeah, I've kind of been vibing these last few weeks or months or whatever. You don't want to be in a friendship that's going to be now the other friend who hasn't been vibing is like, wait, come down so we can be together.
Yes. Yeah, I was telling you about this one.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and recognizing and being flexible with sometimes a friend might be like really thriving and feeling great. And sometimes a friend might not be. And that's going to change. And sometimes you might swap back and forth. Sometimes you guys are going to be together in low places. You're going to be thriving at the same time. It might mismatch, all of that kind of stuff. So I think for me and for everyone listening, I think the word that comes up is just like flexible.
Yeah.
Being flexible with knowing that. And I was talking to my older cousins about this the other day because I think now being a few years out of college, I went to school in the East Coast. Not many people are in the Midwest. I chose to come back here and I'm super happy to be here. I love Chicago. We're so happy to have you. But a lot of my friends, like their big city is New York.
Yeah.
So when they say the city, they're like New York. And I'm like, Chicago. Like there's a lake. Like we live on the water. Like you can jump into it. Like it's amazing. But I'm like, they're still all of my friends. And like, just because I don't talk to them all the time and every day, like, I don't know, I was talking to my cousins and my cousin said something that has actually really stuck with me. She was like, there was a friend when I was like 24, 25. We really didn't speak much. We were super close in college and we didn't speak much. Life was just different.
Yeah.
We had kids at the same time. We live 3 doors down from each other in the city. Our kids are best friends. We're going to each other's birthday parties. We're getting coffee. We're going to the playground and we're just like able to reconnect. So I think it's like having the patience and having the conscious and like self-awareness to recognize that you can like let go of your grip a little bit.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you need to say bye. You can let go of your grip and then it's like just be open to like it slowly coming back and then it expanding out and coming back. So I don't know. I don't know why I'm feeling to say that and connecting to relationships. But like, yeah, there may be some times where you don't spend as much time together.
Yeah.
Because your girl's putting in work with this relationship and is like wanting that aspect of her life to succeed. And sometimes you maybe just kind of gotta like, it may be hard and it may suck.
Yeah.
But like, you'd want her to do the same for you.
And two, I think like the overall theme is when talking about dating, people picture them and a partner, they picture significant other, they picture the struggles of like the actual relationship itself. But like dating affects us as humans because it's like a stage of just growth and development, and that will affect your friendships. And a lot of people don't want to recognize that by introducing this new puzzle piece,
character in the story.
Yeah, a new character will affect the story as a whole. And so I think taking that and like sitting with it and recognizing change is going to happen and you are going to be in different stages and life is going to continue moving is really important because we don't want the inability to not see our friends grow or not see ourselves grow because we're trying to stay in one place.
Exactly.
No, I really liked that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wait, before we go, I have been wanting to tell you this all week, but I was like, I'm going to wait until the podcast because then we can make a podcast about it. I have a new dating fear.
Tell me.
Okay, and this is going to be next week's episode for sure. We're going to get you guys to submit different dating fears that you have. So I was scrolling on TikTok as per usual, and I saw this girl, and she was like, "My boyfriend broke up with me via voice memo."
Oh my god!
No,
wait, but you love voice memo.
I know. No, exactly.
This girl does not text.
I don't text. I literally sent our boss a voice memo last night. I was like, hey, that's how
I know how to open it. Besides the point.
Besides the point. Anyways, I'm obsessed with him. And so I was like, oh, it's April 1st. This is an April Fool's. Like, who would do this? No. She then posted the actual voice memo for me to listen. And I was like, getting broken up with, a fear in itself. That's so tough. Already happened to me before a few times. I don't want to experience it again. Being broken up with through my favorite form of communication. Kill me now. Like, I don't think I would ever recover from that.
Wait, I have a comment because I thought of another thing that happened to one of my friends recently.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
The new update, like, summarizes
No, I know.
text.
Mm-hmm.
Did we already talk about this?
No.
It's a massive paragraph. She doesn't open it, but the summary says, like, breaking up. Like, break up text. Like, this person is breaking up with you because XYZ, because AI summarized his text.
I would die. Nope.
And that's our mic drop. Thank you for listening to Dating in Your 20s.
Thank you for listening. And definitely send us any dating fears you have, because that seems to be a theme right now.
Talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.